Hey there folks, in this resource we're going to start by installing VS Code. Head to this website and download VS Code, install it on your system and run it. Then head to the extensions menu over on the left, it looks like 4 squares together, and install some extensions. Here are the extensions that you want to install. Next, go to File, Open Folder, and open the folder that you set up during your AMPS installation. In my case, I'm going to go to my AMPS folder, open in my Sites folder, open in my abbreviated Advanced Web Development folder, but not choosing the public folder like we did for the DNS. Once you're inside VS Code, then you can see the public folder and the files within it. Double check that file, index.php, and you can make sure something's written in there for now, just some basic text, and you can save it. To get the other half of this working, we need to run an extension called Live Server. If you installed the Live Server extension, down on the bottom right of your VS Code window should be a little button to launch it. A new window will appear, but you can close that window. We're going to open our browser using our local URL instead. You'll notice that when we edit the text in VS Code and save it, nothing updates until we refresh the code. If you want to be able to auto-update, you need to install the Live Server browser extension as well. To do that, go to your browser's extension marketplace and find Live Server by the same author and install it. Once it's installed, you should see a purple icon appear in your browser menu. Click on it to open the setting. In there, type the exact URL you used in the hosts file, so Live Server knows which URL to connect to. After you enter that, accept the setting and refresh the page to connect it. If everything worked, you should now be able to edit your index.php file in VS Code and then just save it and immediately see the update happen in the other window all by itself. And this is how we're going to try to operate this semester. If that didn't work, go back, recheck your settings, and make sure your base URL is correct in the browser, and sometimes the browser gets disconnected, so just refresh it or even close the tab or the browser itself and reopen it again using your URL and connect it again. If you want to change sites in the future and do this with a different site, you need to update the browser extension URL to match the new site as well. The rest of this resource is basically tips and tricks to help you work faster using shortcuts and extensions in VS Code. One method I'd like you to practice this semester is creating a folder you can play in or try things out and practice in. So inside of my public folder, I'm going to create a folder called class, and inside of that folder, I'm going to create another folder for each week, calling them week 01 or week 02. This way, I can create whatever files I want without them affecting my entire system, and if I mess them up, so be it. I'll just trash them and try them again. In this example, I'm just going to create a quick practice file for some VS Code shortcut practice, and then visit that specific URL in my browser so I can test freely. Some of my favorite VS Code features include the split editor, which let me open 2 files side by side or stacked. This allows me to, for instance, edit my CSS in one window and my HTML in the other at the same time. I also use right-click and format document quite a lot. This will format your PHP, your CSS, your JavaScript, and your HTML. It'll help you indent and just keep your code organized once in a while. In general, when you code, you do want to leave comments in your code that define important sections or describe things if necessary. In this case, I use large comment blocks for big sections with clear visual markers like a giant bunch of equal signs or dashes or anything that breaks up the space visually, and I add smaller comments to mark up the subsections. I also leave bigger spaces between major sections and smaller spaces between minor ones. This makes the minimap panel over on the right really easy to read and scroll to different sections just by looking quickly. Having meaningful comments and spacing makes it very simple to spot the right section fast. VS Code also comes with Emmet by default, though it's easy to miss. Emmet is basically shorthand for typing HTML, and this is totally optional. I just think it's kind of fun. For instance, if you type any HTML element, and just the name of it, and hit enter, it'll create the element. If you type div.container, it'll create a div with a class of container for you very quickly. If you type ul and then greater than symbol and then li, it'll create an unordered list with a list item. And from there, you can generate all sorts of entire structures if you learn this shortcut system. How about an unordered list with 3 list items? Using the asterisk, you can define how many of a tag to add. You can use curly brackets to add content to a tag. Mix and match some of these operators together to create complex structures quickly. Another favorite is to select a line of code, any code, and hit Control plus the slash key to comment it out. You can also select a block and comment that out as well. This works in any language. If I'm in CSS and want to comment something, I can do that the same way as in HTML. It'll do the right tags. And yet another incredibly useful tool is multi-cursor editing. If you need to add something, let's say like a class, to many tags at the same time, you can Alt and click at each location, and then when you begin typing, every cursor will type simultaneously. Control click to exit the multi-cursor mode. You can also create a vertical column of cursors by using Control, Alt, and up and down. Another trick when you're working to quickly move lines is to hold Alt while pushing up and down arrow keys to move the line up and down. It works with sections as well. You can use Shift and Alt and up and down to duplicate a line above or below it quickly as well. Control P lets you find files instantly. Just start typing the file name and it appears. So as you start getting lots of files in your project, that's very helpful. And Control, Shift, and F lets you search your entire project, which is great for locating something everywhere, like a class that appears so you can update it globally. That was a lot of tips, and you'll see some of this demonstrated in the demos as we go, and you can play with this. This week is specifically designed to practice getting set up, comfortable using this workflow, and to start programming a little bit of HTML and CSS. So try out some of these tips and tricks and see if they help you out.